Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Shall we call it a day, or do you have one more question?
Well, Mr. Keshe, Lizzie has a hand up here, and I think it's because of this that she would like to. Let me just get it shared properly, I think. Not sure if that came through. About the universal community, let me just allow her to speak. I think that's what she wants to talk about.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Rick. Two points. First, thank you, Mr. Keshe, for you love and knowledge you give us all.
Thank you.
And second, invite all people, all souls. For all the time, you remember to Mr. Keshe, or you remember to the Creator to unify your soul, or elevate all souls. And specifically, invite daily 21 hours in time for unify your soul with the Universal Council for achieve the peace. All the time, all souls be part of the soul of the peace and totality. Please unify all the time your soul, but specifically in that moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I think this is beautiful what you've done. I think this here is the most, as I said, the war of the religions are over. 2025 will be the first time mankind has a chance to start a peaceful planet. It's the first time when even the religious wars will come to an end, as we saw the nationalistic wars coming to an end. And we'll see, hopefully, the end of those who wanted to be the only one and the head of or whatever. Trump has created that condition. And looking in, preserving the inside than outside is the next step in the whole structure. very interesting what you hear in his inauguration is that we have no enemies. We have two oceans on either side, and the others, north and south, is ours, is us. We are created part of from, and we are created to. And this gives us a new insight that, the way I see it, that the time for the end of the wars has come. And as I always said, and if you read my article somewhere, that if we stop making the bombs and making the weapons and making a tool of peace, we'll see that change. But the ground is there, hopefully, if the two major conflicts, religious conflicts, which is with Vatican and the Church of Russia, Moscow, and between the Islamic world and the what we call fake war crimes of what they call Netanyahu, will come to a point that we are ready, humanity is ready to accept the new technology, and with it bring that change, because they'll be so busy with it that there will be no time to do it. It won't happen overnight. It's a slog. There's a lot of work to be done. And at the same time, changing, when you give from your soul to these world leaders, you in the way that they get enlightened that tool of peace serves better humanity than tool of war. And specifically, pray that our religious leaders open their eyes and they put their, what they call the banner of separation, of name of the Creator, to come to an end. And this is when you meet, especially with the request of the Universal Council, there is something going to happen, and this is needed. The way we did, we brought an end to the wars. Now the religious wars coming to an end, it needs this support to enlighten our leaders to a new knowledge, that they leave the old knowledge. I said to some of the powerful world leaders in the past, very recent past, if we develop the technology that makes obsolete the most advanced technology of today, then we have to look for a system. Now is opportunity. We don't make weapons of war. In a very recent past, in a test with the Keshe Foundation, if you remember, this is done outside the military zone. It's done in the hand of the Keshe Foundation. We always spoke about plasma field, which leaves the microchip as a microchip but doesn't function. We saw this for the first time last week, outside, physically observed by scientists, by people who understand the science. By passing a plasma field through a chip in a certain strength, certain way, the chip is intact, but doesn't function what it's supposed to do. And all the latest weapon technologies have this. And if the governments decide to mount on the satellites they launch such a thing that, given the structure of the emotion and information which leads a material, a system, to be weaponized, not to work, we have achieved our peace, and we see the process of peace. In a way, what we said, doesn't matter what more advanced, B-52, F-35, whatever, with a flick of a finger, no microchip works. It falls off the skies. And we have shown this for the first time last week. And it brought me so much joy. And I said to our knowledge seekers, this is the proof of concept. They said, if you take the chip out, it's got 8 legs or 16 legs, we see burn sign. There's no burn sign. We see something else. I said, this is what we always said. And Man, even your AI is so much microchip driven that you can even AI becomes IA. Nothing happens. And how our leaders in next few months change and bring an end to the war of religions, as we saw, still trying to, the whole world is running on the back of one man. This wars, these killings in the past 10, 15, 20 years. And when that man comes down, he served his purpose to bring an end to religions. Then we'll see the next step. If there is no war, let's say in Gaza, when there is no Netanyahu to push this and people live for centuries together in harmony, there is no state of Iran or Ayatollahs to defend others. And so by one move of peace, all these people lose their importance. They're just the name. And all the religions, even with the Ukraine and Russia, they're just the name. They're gone. Because the belief of the war changes. And it's the most beautiful time to bring. And even today, change of time is part of the work I do. Sitting with governments, sitting with ambassadors, enlightening them of what is, do we need to? And I ask all your knowledge seekers, in the next few days, we are working on it day and night. A number of knowledge seekers are working in the background in different levels, different ways to bring the world governments not to teach anymore. We deliver technologies that they can see. We had the most beautiful day today. I can even show you a copy of it. That oasis which we saw in the pictures, even at the beginning, in the intro, that system on its own was tested today. Delivered the energy, delivered the gas, and delivered the water. It's not something we said we are going to do as we've done because technology has to be done. The oasis system is in the hand of the man. And we have to be wise that when we put it out, test is going to be running next few days, a few weeks, will bring the change. The change does not have to come by changing the government in Tehran or changing government in Washington. It comes by giving the technology in the hand of the Africans, in the hand of the third world nation. They see the benefit of it. They pick it up. And then those who think they're in power have no power because there is no need for a power. The condition doesn't come in anymore by going to the strong. It's going to the weak to make the weak to understand they have a beauty and a structure and bring it up that they can enjoy and they can go to the next step. Go to the third world nation, go to the Amazons in Brazil, supposed to be the most advanced nation in South America, but you got in the Amazon so many people, poor people. When I put the voices out years ago, when I saw today, I sat with our people in the past week, 2 weeks, explain to what is going to happen, what is going to be. Now is time for you to understand the knowledge. We have the voices system in our hand today. The water produced, the power measured, the gas is measured. But there's one hidden thing I've hidden in this voices system. When you create the system, through it, you have created the energy, you have created the condition for man to elevate his souls and be able to become man of universe and transmute and transform. This oasis which I gave, this oasis which is in our hand, is not anymore for man's physicality. It's an oasis for universal. and is in our hand. And we are not afraid to talk about it. We are not afraid to do it because our team had to mature to it, and they were matured enough in the past 3-4 weeks, work past 2-3 months, to be gifted this such a beautiful technology. The Oasis is not just about the water, the energy, and the gas. The Oasis in it, the structure of it, is to give energy fields which takes man in the dimension of the soul and the other side to the dimension of physicality. One day I'll explain to our knowledge seekers, this system, the purpose of it is not to create gas to burn, is to create the fields of the plasmas which allows man to travel the span of the universe. And that system is in our hand today. It was achieved around early this summer. This will bring peace, and we need to elevate the soul of our, what we call, world leaders, as the Universal Council connects to the soul of us, understand our work and understand the time has come. They have made this call and we respond to it. Thank you very much for today. I have to go into another meeting. It doesn't ever end. And I hope we see the beautiful time of peace and changes with respect of world religious leaders, government leaders, and the rest. Man never had an opportunity as this year, this time, to see the establishment of peace. But we'll see as we change the end of the wars of the nations. Now we see the end of the wars of the religious, and then we can start. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 575th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, January 30th, 2025. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I will be the host once again in this eternal series of wonderful workshops brought to you by Mr. Mehran T. Keshe, and he is ready for yet another workshop here, and I believe he's completely ready to go today. Hello, Mr. Keshe, are you there?
Yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual, whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute. In the last few weeks, we try to enter a dimension of knowledge that makes sense, and at the same time, it brings us new insight into how and why and the reason we exist. Something which is partially important and partially for us to understand how we created, and how we create. As we know, and we have come across the structure of the creation of universe, as it starts with the plasma of the creator and the fields within it, that we are part of it because we are in that plasma. As it said, I made man in the image of myself, because we are inside it. We are created from it. We are it and it's us. It brings us to a very interesting position and condition. We have given it names, but it has no names. We have called it fields, we have called it magnetic fields, we have called it fields in motion, but in fact is a dimension of energy which, in how it interacts with itself, creates life of itself. And then, because fundamentally the basic, what we call the origin, is the creator of the end, so it's in it, in all aspects of it. What does this mean? It means we start from a field, the collection of these energies, behaving, interacting. We call it, in the language of the man, hydrogen. If you say to a man from planet Zeus, hydrogen says, what? If you explain to him how strength of certain energy leads to creation of certain things, then he understands, because he has no name for it. He understands the concept, he understands the process of creation. And in fact, those who were residents of this planet already understood this. Men of cultures of thousands of years ago understood fields, they never understood hydrogen. We just given a name to them in past 100 years. They understood the concept of interaction. And this is what the man has to go back to. What fields do, how they interact, what's the essence of their interaction. And then once you understand this, you don't need to give it the name of hydrogen, the carbon, or whatever else. I always said the biggest, maybe unfortunate thing happened to humanity, especially in the past 100 years or so, is Rockefeller. He brought his doctrination of education the way we all follow one thing and everything else is wrong, and being an American and whatever, pushed it through even the World Health Organization, the rest of it. If we didn't have Rockefeller, who pushed us this thing through, this, what they call, especially in the world of medicine and education, man would have still gone a different way. We become addicted. Then they brought the peer reviewing, and they took all the senses of knowledge from us. Everything else is wrong unless it's written and accepted by an American institution. And the way they set up the world of medicine, the old-fashioned way the man could understand energy fields of herbs, plants, trees, animals. and the air breathed and the way we did has and been written off because I want this man, only this man. No one did so much harm to the knowledgeable or the knowledge of the past of the man than Rockefeller. But what does it come to? Why everything else we do goes beyond the dimension of names? In space, there is no names. You cannot educate an alien to accept hydrogen because it doesn't exist. It does not actually exist that he could explain or you could explain to him. We have gone in a direction which we have forgotten the origin of the creation. Magnetic fields, energy fields in motion. And if we go back to it, especially in this year and what we developed, will change the whole structure backwards. In 2025, we'll set out to do this. And in a way, we have created the arms. We have set the structure to reverse whatever man has done backwards to the origin of what our ancestors understood, but with the knowledge of science of understanding it in much more depth, in much more conditions of understanding. How we could sense each other, how we could, without talking, acknowledge each other in understanding each other's thought and emotion, and how we changed it into physicality, how we brought it into understanding of the totality. When we introduce the new headphones, you will understand the impact of this technology in the next few months, where man shackled with satellites and connections and everything else would not be there. You can do it yourself. When it comes that you can take energy from the environment through the same system without actually feeding yourself. These headphones we put on, especially the stereo system, is a marvel in the world of science, of plasma, technology, creation and the creator. What it does, you want an apple, as I said before in another teaching, you put in the environment of one handset and the other one on the other headset, you feed your soul. Do you need to eat? Process of transferring energy from the environment. In a way, you take energy from the aura of an apple. And what if your body needs, it takes. Will it give you the pleasure and the smell and the taste? Is how you want to do it. In so many ways, we will see in further time that then what happens when you want to transmute, when you want to transfer, how the energy packs will change. We just give it a different name, but has no name now. How do we confirm the energy of the apple as a hydrogen? There is fields of it, what it doesn't need, what it needs to attract you to it. In a way, there is no need for a science of man-made to control the man, where the systems we developed will be combined, what I call hydro, hyper, whatever you want to call it, into becoming a system for delivering as much as little as, and in conjunction with what man needs. Further stage into this is when you collectively think of one thing, using the headsets, and that thing manifests itself. Does it matter if it's emotion, if it is action, if it's a change? And in a way, if you look at the headsets, which we put at the twin sets, it's the work of the Universal Council. They don't need. By connecting their souls, by giving directly the way it was said, by purity, as the others will know, it's the same function as a Universal Council. When they come in, they decide the manifestation of the decision to create peace brings that, manifests that in peace. When all the members of Universal Council collectively decide, that becomes that apple. That president, those world leaders, who their intention is, becomes the recipient. Because target is not by headphone, target is by fields in motion, the energy transfer. And you will see more and more of these things, because now we can explain the science of it. We can bring that point of change. These tools we put out is for souls to learn, for individuals to learn how to. The process of creation is very simple. You have the fields, which come from the essence of the creation of it, what we call the creator, the God. In interacting with each other, they create, they divide, they get together slightly stronger, because now is an amalgamation of, is not always loss of. And because the field of the creator, in a way, spreads in all dimensions, is three-dimensional, some of the ones which come from the south side hit the ones from the north side. Now there's a new energy created, a new dimension. You call it the carbon, because it's a collection of interaction of many fields together. And then this energy connected and collected, and it elevates itself. Then it becomes oxygen, then becomes everything else. And then we build upon it. And it's the same process in the dimension of the creation. In your body, in your physicality, I was explaining to a knowledge seeker earlier. You have the fields of the creator. Then you have the dimension of the fields, interactions, whatever you call it, carbon, whatever. In the body of the man, interaction of the fields as they are in the Ganser state, in the plasma state, creates hormones. Interaction of the hormones with the inside interaction of the other fields creates emotion. And then in the further steps of interaction of the two and the other factors creates the matter state. And if the world of medicine, if the world of science understands this, man never needs medicine for depression. Man doesn't need medicine for cancer. Man doesn't need something else, a herb, a tree, a plant for whatever. Look inside your body and understand it. And then you add it and you take from it what you understand. It'll come very easy to understand the process of the creation. In energy, what you call hormones, what you call essence of the, what I call inertia of the creation, in interaction with itself and the dimension of the fields creates your emotion. Why do they say if you lack such a hormone, you behave like this? Your hormone changes in your body and it's your menopause. Because hormone is a base coming up from the creation. Is the fundamental structure. And then when your hormones interacts with your emotion, which is of the higher order dimension in completion of matter change, inertia, what do you get? Body cells, change of body. Without the hormones and the emotion, there cannot be physicality. Your cancer is created by changes of the hormone in interaction with your emotion. Your kidney is created by the same process. Your brain cells are created in the same manner. Look at the structure of the brain of the man. The way the scientists tell us how the inner sides are, how the edges are, why the physicality of the man connection of the nerve is just under this skull skin, because it's the matter state is at the far end. Underneath of it sits controlling section of emotions. Underneath of it sits the controlling of the hormones, and the inside of it sits the soul. Look at the structure of your brain, understand the structure of brain, why you have the two halves and the two arms, and it's close to the soul which interacts it. The shoulders, the upper arm comes to the center of the brain up. The arm itself is above the head, and your fingers are both sides of your ears on the extremities of the brain of the man, because that's the dimension of physicality. When you emotionally feel, physicality moves. Somebody stresses you, somebody surprises you, you hit out with your fingers or you run out, because emotion creates the physicality motion. It's in motion inside you, which creates the motion outside. And then, if you look at it, if the hormones are not there to create that condition, the motion does not exist. Because the emotion is not there to be affected by. And then it's the soul of the man which feeds that hope, which feeds the lower level. In a way, we start with the lower level of the creation, which comes to be the essence of the creator, detachment. And then as we more attached to it fields, we more become physical. It's the same structure in the brain of the man. It's the same structure in the process of the creation, in the same structure in everything else which the man depends on his existence. Your hormone changes, your emotion changes, the man you love now you don't want to touch. Estrogen, progesterone, whatever hormones, this hormone, then you see how close it becomes to the soul. And in the test we are doing, in the development of the technologies we are doing, is to bring you to understand the two sides, inside, outside. By strengthening the outside, in a way to bring the physicality which is on the boundary of your body and on your brain, because it controls it through the neural system. We expand the system, we expand it with cancers, we expand it with the headphones, we expand it with anything else. Then you find out the emotion moves, and that emotion moves, the hormone moves in the strength of the dimension of the size. In a way, in English we call it the big-headedness. You get a bigger head when you become too successful or something you do right. It's the same way if we increase the fields of your body outside, so the expansion of the dimension of the fields of covering the environment of the brain of the man or the body of the man expands. So now your physicality sits where your hormone comes in, where your hormone section was interacting with your emotion. Now emotion is outside your skin and the rest of it. In a way, in expansion, you increase it. And then when you decrease it, because it received the lower order energy, the physicality of the arm which was paralyzed gets fixed because it's received the source, it received the energy at the level which changes it. You don't feed the body of the man with the bigger fields. You feed the body of the man with the smallest, with the lower strength that it can absorb. This is where the man has made a mistake. We think we're powerful, we give it everything, but in fact we give more of the lesser fields that he allows to change. And this is how even our food consumption is. Look at how food, energies of the food affect us, our behavior, our emotion, our body structure. Is not to saturate it, is make it available of the lower order at the given strength. And once we understand this, once we understand the effect and application of it, then we can change a lot of things. We can expand the soul of the man beyond the man to the next man, and then to the next man. And then, if you're of the same strength, motion, interaction is peace, you connect. You are there to serve, to bring peace. You connect. And this expansion, as you are across the universe, across this planet, it expands to all those which are in between it. This is how member of Universal Council in Italy, in India, in Iran, in the United States, and every corner of this planet, bring that condition of change to the world leaders. Because now you have made the net and everything else is in it. This is why we said it's important to become a member of Universal Council. Because you bring that position into the condition of the bigger and the stronger net that interacts with all the souls within it. Be it the president, be it the sheep, be it the cat, be it the farmer, be it whoever. And now you understand, it's the same as the hormone. Now the soul of the Universal Council members is that hormone level, which receives the energy from the source, and then as it expands, it covers the whole of the humanity, and then beyond and beyond. And this is why we created the Earth Council. When the Earth Council operates in its fullest strength, what it has to, then it brings, concentrates in dimension of the, what I call culture of the man, not the borders of the man. Doesn't matter if you are African in Africa or you're African in New York or in Beijing, because it's a dimension of totality of the essence of the emotion. Now we understand how it works. In a way, Universal Council is that hormone. The Earth Council is that emotion. And the humanity is the body of the man. Once we understand this, in the coming time, we will affect, the way we feed the soul of the man to feed the man, through the fields of the Creator, through the Universal Council, will feed the humanity by the knowledge of the creation. This was why we emphasize those of you who can serve as a member of the Universal Council to be there, and not everybody could, because the burden is high. the commitment to bring the changes high is in a way, is in dimension of understanding, receiving energy fields of the lower level, that you allow it to interact to create a higher level. Interaction of the soul of the Universal Council from United States and American speaking and English speaking England member of Universal Council, when they interact, they bring that strength that goes from hormone to emotion. And they create that emotion by the dimension of their, what they call energies, which is within them to achieve what is their thoughts, what is there to bring that dimension of existence, peace, elevation of the man's, being able to transport and transmute. Then you see what we achieve. We achieve at the end, the peace and the transmutation, the rest is like that outer edges of the brain of the man in dimension of physicality, which makes the man to move. The source sits with the Universal Council. From the lower, not from the higher. Humbleness, servitude, and detachment. This is what man will come to understand. What is in micro is in macro. You have the soul of the man. You have the soul of the Universal Council. You have the emotion. You have the network of the connection. The emotion of peace. Then that gets the man to move his physicality through the essence of the physicality of the nerves that creates the world leaders to move. We are the rays which feeds the Universal Council. Humble. And that essence sits with the Creator. And if the man understands this year is the time when the love of the Creator will touch every man on this planet, and man will change from aggression to peace. It will not happen overnight, as every soul has to be touched, and touching has to accept to understand. In that process, in that level, how we touch the emotion, how we touch the physicality, how we touch the hormones, has been tested in the past 2 sessions of the Fridays. And we've seen the result. We've seen how people interact, how people respond, how physicality becomes not important to eat or to be or to whatever. Because the energy is received through the soul, through the hormones, through the emotion, then the dimension of physicality of the hunger goes further out, because now it's getting fed from essence inside. From the soul of the Creator, from essence of energies in motion. You call it carbon, you call it sugar, you call it whatever you like. Our ancestors understood this through herbs. Our ancestors understood this through plants. Our ancestors understood this from the motion of the air in the skies. As there were no wars and they had time to meditate, they had time to understand man's making out of the creation of interaction of the fields of the universe. And we're taking man to that position with the new technology, when you don't need to waste time to kill, to do whatever. The time will come that the whole thing interacts outside. What does this mean? By introducing the systems which produces energy, by producing system which produces electrics, water, feeding, and then by the systems which produces as much gold as the nations rob each other for with no value. It coming to the point that if we produce petroleum, that now the water and the oil come from the same ground. How have we valued the two different? Water we can get, oil we have played with it because somebody decided. Somebody decided that now we play the game again, Rockefeller. Then you understand how position of power and collective lying and cheating has brought man to where it is. And the plasma technology will take us back to the same point of maybe 10,000 years ago, when our sisters understood the emotion, the field emotion of the creation. And then it's for you to understand, we make oil valueless because you can produce. In the next few weeks, we show you how to produce oil as much as you like in the back of your car. Produce as much water as you need. With what we call a structure of the hormones, you call it, feed you every energy you need. With it, we make material no value. With it, we become transportation and transmutation. With it comes, does the agriculture needed, where man can get the energy he needs from the fields of the dimension of the what we call systems made by man. Then man collectively will connect to universal fields. Then there is no need for systems. I have set out a plan, and this plan totally completes by December of this year. In step by step, on the banner of what we control internationally, will bring one by one into operation. Energy, power, water, medicine, materials, transportation, transmutation. Every step is fully planned, is written, and we carry out. With it, in diminishing the value of gold, we destroy the value man has made to differ from one to another. With making available energy and water to every man in a simple way, we literally take control of power and energy out of the people, in people's hand, out of the government. With delivering systems which can give you food, there is no hunger. As I said to you last week, the Oasis system has started. And with it, we'll make the value of the oil the same as the water. You will understand, when you can produce gallons of oil in the house at no cost, would you pay the Saudis to abuse women and children in dungeons or whatever they do with hundreds of dollars? And our habit has been, once we get it going, it'll go back to everybody else. Which means we all make it for each other. Nobody needs to tell you it's wrong, because you make it for yourself. If you decide to participate in the elevation of the society, I do the cleaning, I do the teaching, I do everything else. A detailed plan of what's going to happen with all the technologies which Keshe Foundation has put out in past 20 years, month by month, has been set out and is in the hand of people we trust. It's not with me anymore, and is outside the framework of the Keshe Foundation, that it cannot be tampered with. And creating these conditions, create a condition of peace. As I said, if you're fighting for a Gaza Strip, I give you a planet, get all the Jews out there, kill each other in whatever name they have. You're a Muslim, you want to have your own land, we give you a galaxy. See how much of it you can fill it. You're a man, you want to live in peace and harmony and sharing, we give you the planet Earth. Which You provide for yourself. We're giving you all the tools of it. It's just now how to show you to use the tools. You knowledge seekers were given the tools to start this years ago as a Maghreb, and you never understood. You became too attached to a few watts, where megawatts was feeding you from inside. You didn't know how to tap into it, how to use it. We show you how. With it, we take what we call value, money, whatever you call it, out of the what we call the program. When you have what you need as food, as energy, as water, as medicine, you understand the work of not a medicine, but in a way changing the structure of the man. Do you need to rely on somebody else and somewhere else? The whole understanding, the whole process of the creation now is made simple, understandable, the way our ancestors understood thousands of years ago. And took the dimension of physicality, made value for metals, made value for holding a fruit, made value for everything else, that if you don't have it, you want it, you pay for it from your energy to me, that I in a way steal from you. And then this has become the habit of the man. Now when we feed the soul of the man, man does not need to, because from under we feed the over, and the over is complete. Through the soul we feed the physicality, and the physicality, when it's satisfied, does not need. I wonder in the next 5 years, once the scientists understand and work in the dimension of whatever, would Alzheimer's become a thing of the past? Parkinson doesn't exist. There's no man hungry. And nobody fights for gold and coins on this planet. This is not a dream. Once we release, step by step, in next months, the voices and what it can do, and how the process will come into what we call operation of the totality, then you will understand as knowledge seekers that to change the 2025 to a time of peace has to be done from our side. We have to distribute, we have to share the knowledge, and at the same time we have the leaders who said to bring that knowledge into operation. We work from one end and the world leaders on the other end. And hopefully within the next few months and next few years, we achieve what we set out to do. As knowledge seekers, as those who understand the knowledge, you are responsible for taking the fields into the dimension of the work of the mankind. In a way, your soul has brought you here. You're volunteers to bring that knowledge, energy, fields, whatever you call it, and in a way, through you, you touch the ones outside, which becomes the emotion. Which they create the motion and the condition for mankind to go back to become kind, and at the same time, with that process, opens the doors of universal council, universal community to all of us. We're not preaching, we are teaching, we are developing scientific structure. This is not a religious temple, this is a temple of science. where understands the true process of creation, true process of operation of the body of the man and the universe, and is shared freely with all of you. Watch how I will use the tools of man, made by man, for man to become peaceful for mankind. And how in the coming weeks and months we make everything valueless for what man put value to rob from the others. Energy, oil, gold, communication, transportation. And then we see how mankind changes, how our feeling changes to what we valued so much we have no value for, and with it we find peace inside, and with it we bring peace outside. I can drive across the whole town, I can drive across nations, I can go across the planetary system knowing there's no enemies. Enemies are made by people to be able to control people. The prosperity and peace comes when we trust each other and we work with it. And that's what is going to come. Goes back to Dharma, Dariush, and goes back to the time of Mitra, the essence of creation. You will understand in the next few weeks and months, I personally take hand and control to bring, give support to those world leaders who are to bring peace to their nations and to all the nations. We release technologies step by step, primarily energy, which means energy not just by electricity, by gas, but energy for man to feed himself, that he has the energy to bring that peace. We release technologies in the framework of governments, in the framework of industry, that by the time they come to understand, the whole process will be shared across. You remember we gave the USB stick to the ambassadors, and then the ambassadors gave it to the governments, and the governments gave it to scientists to test it, and the scientists came back to us that, what do I do with this? So we knew we covered everything from top to bottom. This will be the same process. In the coming weeks, we'll release the technology of the energy to governments, to industry. The hunger to make money, the greed of the man will serve us perfect to share the knowledge in a very deep way, very rapid. This is why we put the patent on the, as I said before, European patent. When I understood the power of patent, that I don't need to go and sell to people, this is what I say, I put it on a patent, the whole world got it. Then you understand how we will change the whole structure. Where we use the industry, we use the governments to share the technology amongst you. From those who never heard about the Keshe Foundation, who never understood the technology of plasma, but they become the user of it, and then becoming the user of it, they become peaceful people. When we introduce the systems that your car, as you're driving it, it spreads energy, which is a level of the emotion and hormones. You see how people lovingly walk down the street. They're fightingly, today's the streets we see. The crimes will be solved by change of the emotion of the man. Through the cars you'll drive using the technology. As the English say, I've got the humanity by short and curlies on either end. Time will come soon that there'll be no Vatican, and there'll be no Jerusalem, and there'll be no Mecca. but just in the history books. As there be no religion, as the religion of man will become the religion of creator and no intermediaries. As I say, watch this space in the coming weeks, and those who are close to Keshe Foundation know exactly what is happening. And step by step, keep an eye on your backgrounds, understand the technology of it, not a few volts and amps coming out of it. We go for a break and we come back, and I hope I open your eyes to something very interesting is about to happen in the coming weeks. Rick, would you like to take us for a break?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you. Great news, and very interesting. We certainly live in special times right now. Okay, we will have a short break and come back with the second part of the show. And that means that people here in our Zoom webinar will have the chance to raise their virtual hands and ask a question directly from to Mr. Keshe. And others can put their questions in the chat, either in YouTube or in our chat or in Zoom, as well as in the Q&A in Zoom. Okay, so we'll be back.
Water is the foundation of our life. It is part of every living creature. Pure water gives you the energy of nature. Now you can have this energy in your home. The Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer is designed for your daily well-being. It increases the pH of the water so your body can absorb more oxygen and stay in its natural condition during the day. Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer. Be pure like the water.
Okay, we're back after our break with the 575th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, January 30th, 2025. Well, Mr. Keshe, are you ready to launch into another part of the workshop? You usually have something to say before we begin the questions, so please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, we, as I said too, in the other part of the teaching and before, we are in a massive change, going through a change and bringing that change, and everything is set out for it to happen. Somehow, everything is getting narrowed down to that point. And we try to do a lot of things, understand a lot of things, and at the same time, try to bring it in a point that we can bring it out in a mass dimension direction. And so we will we'll make a few announcements in a very short time, which, as we are the owners of some structures around the world, will be public. We cannot hide it, otherwise we will be involved, or what you call it, will create us problem legally. So watch where Keshe Foundation information instantaneously within minutes will spread across this planet. When we took this action some years ago, was on the back of the way what we did with the what we call the European patents that we opened up and you all downloaded it. We have deliberately set out, and hopefully within the next short time be completed, that the inventions, the structures of the development to bring changes instantaneously within minutes of announcing will cross every border on this planet. It's the science of the man who has made it possible. And it's the science of the creation which gives that information for it to be done. Keep a close eye. The teachings will change drastically in a way as number of people who will be around the Keshe Foundation. You're the old knowledge seekers. You're hundreds of thousands of you have been there for a long, long time. But what we set out, if everything goes okay, what we announce instantaneously will be heard across the planet. To those who matter, who those who want to bring a change. And we just need a few more days and short time. And be on the watch that when you hear it, the time for change has started. You won't hear it from us in the Keshe Foundation. You hear it in public domain. And we set out to do it. And arrangements for it there. We announce you the X to be there to watch. You have the Facebook, you have the YouTubes, and we're ready for the big change in 2025. We have learned to use what is made available to the best of our ability. What we keep quiet, we'll keep quiet, and when we come out, you will see instantaneously, more or less, the whole world population will know the changes has been kept within the Keshe Foundation within your hands. Some of you know you're working with us in the background to bring it up. And those of you who don't go to your people and say, you see, I said so. Just stay humble. I knew it's for you to learn. That should be the attitude. Don't become arrogant, become humble because of what comes out. Going back to bits and bobs of the Mehran Keshe Foundation. As you know, around August of 2023, we allowed a number of people to come in to see the impression of their souls, if you remember. And each one of you received a picture of what you actually are. We are bringing this back as a gift for Valentine, for the love of the creation. And a few number of people will take up, and you can see how much your soul has developed since the past year and a half. How much you change, and you receive your own dimension, and you compare it, see what you understand, how much you elevated and what you are. And it'll be interesting. We have put it on the Keshe Foundation website now. It'll be very limited numbers because it takes individual time to give a slot that you come in. We take you up and we record your, what do you call it, the soul performance. This time you'll have separately than your physical and solar physicality, so you can see the dimension of your soul. We try to send you the videos of the operation, maybe 3-5 minutes. We have to see how we do it. But on the 14th of February, in 2 weeks' time, as a Valentine, as a lover, you can see the love of your soul and your physicality. You can register for it immediately. We'll stop because it's one day and there's certain number of people we can accommodate to be in this session. And then you can see how it changes. The interesting part of this is we know you will see the change. I'll explain, one of our knowledge seekers on the line, he's the only one who knows because he's been part of it, that we took 5 individuals, never heard of the Keshe Foundation, never involved in any of the Keshe Foundation work. Business people with scientific mind and people who have control or whatever, understand part of it. And we put them through the system last Saturday for 3 hours. The souls which never been touched by the technology, they were, what do you call it, against or pro, whatever, it doesn't matter. They came in, we sat them through the system for 3 hours. We monitored them, how the first 2.5 hours were exactly the same as before. They were just switched off situation. And then once it clicked, we saw how the soul moved. The system changed the man. And we're meeting with them again this week to see after 1 week what they are. What we heard in between, it has affected them. They felt something, they seen the change. So we want to see how your soul has changed over past months of development. If you took part in the sessions or never took in the part, it does not matter. You've been there, you tuned the teaching and the rest of it. So on the 14th of February, we're on a 1-day session, it's a Friday, that you all can see how your soul does. Register for it, and you know last time we did in 2023. Now we touch with this new technology in that session, your emotion. We'll touch everything possible we can. And we want to know how you feel after you're seeing your, what you call, the graphs. Do you think you've changed? Do you think how much you changed? And how much closer you become to understand yourself? So we close this, what do you call it, registration very rapidly because we have certain amount of time in 1 day we can allocate to this job, and we take 1 person at a time. They'll be very short, 15-20 minutes. We set up to the next person, and if you're not, then you're given the slot, you lose it because we can't repeat it. And this will bring a lot of changes, and it shows us, because we collectively see what you do, Now we see how much you affected the past months of the operation in the sessions, because we can tell the difference how the thing is and how collectively you're moving and how you're changing. On the other hand, we put in the sessions for February, March and April. Please complete that, because we have to have that by the end of this month. Whoever is joining, we don't allow late entries every time, the last week, the last time, the last minute, because it creates a lot of problem for us. We have to wait till the last minute, changes, somebody jumps in, and we want to stop this because it makes other people anxious. We haven't received our confirmation, blah blah. Everybody gets confirmed that day, and that's how it's going to be. We would like to do it because we go into the dimension of transmutation through the soul, and we control a lot of other things. In the dimension of the work of the Keshe Foundation, we try to bring the change we promised for a long time, because now the technology for it is complete. And the beauty of it is, Keshe Foundation stands on its own internationally from now on. We don't rely on no government, no world leader. We deliver to the whole world at the same time, simultaneously. We might see some resistance, but that's doable. But by the time they understand the resistance, how they can come up, it'll be too late, because there'll be too many people receiving it. Be vigilant in 2025. Don't become arrogant, especially with the members of your family who opposed you, friends who ridiculed you. Stand to be kind, stand to understand, is for them to gain knowledge, and it's not for you to become arrogant and become shame on them. The shame comes when you become arrogant. Let them realize, let them see the change. And do not dangle it on their nose. I told you so. You told me this and that. I told you so. The way the path we're taking, working, hope is more or less getting all framed up. Keshe Foundation will come out of obscurity or forced by Fox News on Keshe Foundation. As you saw, Fox built Trump from loser to winner. That was the only way they got through. This time, we work outside the framework of anybody being able to touch. Everything is setting up for it. We need another few weeks. And then you will see the way the Keshe Foundation will cover the world news, step by step. Everything is getting set up for it. And my only request from you, knowledge seeker, is, especially if you suffer in the hand of your family and your friends or whatever, when the tide changes, become humble, not arrogant. You were lucky to receive it before they do, and understand. In them understanding the change, they might become a better person in serving humanity than you. Any questions?
Good point. Thank you for that reminder, Mr. Keshe. Well, that actually is, let me get my questions up here, and YouTube.
We have some testimonials. We never usually bring out testimonials. These testimonials are about the products you buy and you bought. Our, what do you call it, management wants this to be read, because they say people have to know it's not just the product and what it does to people, these sessions and these products. And a lot of people don't go to the testimonials, but if you understand, I explain the reason sometimes behind these as we read it, because the thing has to be heard by people. It's not just a product. Would you like to read? Because they've sent it to you as much as I've received it.
Yes, let me get, I'll even put it up on the screen if I can here, just a minute. Be in small print, but I can read it. Maybe I can make it bigger even. Let's see.
There are no names mentioned, I think.
Just want to make sure.
You want to open it
have
up?
Initials. Pardon me?
You want to open it up?
Make it bigger, you mean? Yeah, let me I'll select this part and we'll start with that. And let's make it, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it starts out with a comment from MC of the USA who says, I've noticed that I eat less. I am more calm in whatever I am doing. Thank you. Then we have under Keshe Nutrigans. I have been drinking Nutrigans water for a few weeks now, and this has had significant consequences. It is becoming more and more common for me to be able to skip a meal without any problem. Whether it is morning, noon, or evening, it is not a problem. My stomach is calling for food, and sometimes I get a little headache. However, it remains at a pleasant level, and time passes without it becoming a problem, or that you suddenly can no longer do. That's from KB in Switzerland. And next we have KD from Germany, who says regarding the Twinity pause GANs, here's my weekly experience report with the Twinity pause GANs. Emotions are balancing, and I react quite calmly in challenging situations. I also notice that I have more energy and joy again. I continue to enjoy this beautiful energy that gently and lovingly calms my nervous system, especially in the upper back, shoulders, and solar plexus. When I travel with my soul, I get pictures of animals I've never seen before. I don't know which place it is, and I just let myself be guided. Thank you very much and best regards. Again, that was KD from Germany. We have under the Keshe Plasma Care soap bars for kids, the kids soap. Start of use was in December 21st of 2024. And kids soap, first use under the shower. I heard joy and much laughing. She feels that she has another access to the English language. She understands much more. Seems like a surprising result from soap. The laughter you could kind of expect, but she feels she has another access to the English language. She understands much more. Lovely. And a second plasma care soap bar testimonial on the regular soap. Plasma care soap first used also in the shower, 20 minutes after it, by driving to school, a feeling of happiness in a mood of uplifting. Found no translation for it, and I began to sing. When I picked her up, I laughed the whole way. I sang funny, spontaneous songs. It was very infectious. I observed her. She was smiling all the way, too. Resume or resume, I'm not sure what she means. First touch with this soap makes everything, all souls, happy. We use it daily for face, hands, under the armpits, and by need to take a shower or a bath. and I took it for cleaning the floors, some flakes of it mixed into the water, and cleaning windows, and I love to clean with it. The most amazing changes, emotional, physical, and on a soul level, came into my life. I am so happy and thankful by starting every day in such a relaxed and peaceful manner. The sun is back in my heart. I missed it since April 2024. My position is very clear. My trust into my soul is unlimited, and the experiences to tap into the fields are taking shape. Everything is coming together. The wishes from the past, success in changing something with the work on the soul level with my teeth, where I had some serious issues since August. Also, the emotion of the touch has changed to the cat or to myself or to the daughter. The view of my eyes is different, much more being in love with what is in front of my eyes. The interaction with the cat is different, the observation of it too. I am starting to act curious and open to spend time by doing it. The white of the eyes is much clearer. The stiffness in my fingers 2 days after using this soap is gone from gout side effects in the wintertime. The emotion is so strong by doing things, just like a kind of being in love with the things I do. It is like to look at the things and to realize what to add or what's the fact or what to ask or what's the need of. Simply to focus on that, what is my responsibility. When I give from the soul to one, I give to all who are in need. I kiss the sun. I kiss everything in between and above and among. I am thankful to all, not only one. The trust that everything is right at this moment manifests and shows itself in everything, or I am simply aware of it. For example, if I ask myself a question, how does the earth manage to get what it needs in winter without a rainbow? Because I never saw one, I see a rainbow the next day. So many great things have happened in the last few weeks. It's hard to put into words. And somehow it's just like this question and the rainbow. It goes on happily. It's like I'm finding the way, even if I don't consciously know it, because my intention is for the good of all souls involved. Thank you, Keshe Foundation, and all souls in existence for everything. KM Switzerland. Well, that was a very detailed and wonderful testimonial. What do you think, Mr. Keshe?
Yes, there's a testimonial from we got to understand the reason. The reason for it is in the mixture of the gases we put in these materials, which all the systems are connected. Doesn't matter if you buy a headset, the soap, or whatever. Especially when it comes to the soap, is what I explained earlier on in teaching. It expands the boundary, opens up the channel of energies, which are connected to our environment and us. And because we use a special gases, we open the channels, the lower channel energy interaction. It's the same thing with your other gases which you use for the for whatever purpose you purchase them for. These are not just the water, these are structured to open certain fields of strength in the body and the environment. In a way, we are showing you how you tap to universal energy. And the soap and other things, magnetic systems, are in a way to show proof of concept. When you wash your hand, you carry this material in your hand, in your body, for a long time. We took time for years to promote things like this soap, because we had to have the right ingredient. A lot of knowledge seekers went into gimmick game of, oh, they put a CO2 and in Zadan, and they made fake soaps and everything else. They don't get the same result, the same thing as we do when we do it, because we don't look at those things. We look at what's in the background of the structure in what we developed. And that's why we never give the structure out. In when you, if you ever open the containers, you'll feel you touch the essence of the creation. It's not the gases you are used to. It's the knowledge of the creation we put into these bottles. If you buy it and you see no reaction, it means you are not at the field strength they are. Mixed two together and find the balance. Don't, if you get the ganses, especially twin ganses, you get 1 and 2 and you don't see, mix half and half together and use as a mixture to create a connection. It's not the material, it's you who does not have the connection to it, and you have to find that connection. This is why we ask you not to mix ganses when you're using, because each one is set for different structure. Some is set for the hormones, some is set for emotions, some are set for physicality. So you have to be very, very careful. And when I put the ganses for the soap out, it was really set to connect, to bring pleasure. And when I hear it's getting red, it brings you that, yes, it's correct. Proof of concept. What do we do with this? When we open everything up, this knowledge adds into everything else that you do. A way not to feel hungry, a way not to be aggressive. In a way we calm your soul. There is no need for aggression. That time will come with every American will put the guns on the street and melt them, because that essence of gun force will not be there. And it's very easy. I feed it to you through the exhaust of your car. How many cars travel around your cities? We found a way to change the man through what man is in a way entangled with. The automotive is the best sources of changing man today on this planet, and we have targeted it. You remember I told you a few weeks ago, I buy the Tesla company for $2. Now it's got 1 year closer. And then it's not going for it, it's knowing what it does with it. You get so many cars using so much what we call plasma, crossing each other, creating new conditions. It's exactly we create what happens from the essence of the source of the creator in creating the universe. A field had to go somewhere, find something else to interact to become carbon-14. Now we have 85 million cars a year produced, passing each other, crossing each other, and you can imagine how man will change in the direction of perfection the way the universe is. I know how to use the man and his greed and his intentions and his tools to benefit the mankind. When we produce the systems which, for example, electric cars, These systems are not just feeding the car to run, they create fields which interacts with the next car passing. And the other car across the city, because it's passed it once, so it's created a connection. And because it feeds through the fundamental energy, will change the man, will elevate the soul of the man. I said it a few minutes ago. I got humanity by short and curlies. And the greed of the man to save energy, the greed of the man to drive longer, and the greed of the man to make more of its mechanical system serves our purpose 100%. To bring peace through elevation, through the innovation of new technologies. Always remember, when you deal with the plasma, anything to do with like gases and plasma, you are connected to universal system. You create that condition. You got to understand why I chose the soap and what I chose the soap today, this time. Go back to your fundamental teachings of gas making. And I kept on telling you, use the amino acid to be able to make the connection. What are the soaps are made of? Fat, amino acid. Now you see why the lady and the girl into you feels the way they do. But they touch everything. Why there's the emotion with the cat? The cat is amino acid. Now you understand. As I said, when I read it to myself was, I'll carry a soap in my pocket and wash myself every 5 minutes and see what's the next step. We know how to get to the man. Send these soaps to your presidents, to your world leaders. Send these soaps to your loved ones. The husband who opposes you, let him wash himself with a soap. You got him by short and curlies. His emotion, his soul will elevate. And then you understand what it changes the house. Any other question? We can.
Okay, thank you for that. There was one other testimonial having to do with the transmutation sessions. Do you want me to read that as well?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
But I think there's a name underneath of that. Take it out. Just read the text.
Okay, it's just initials, but I'll just
Yeah.
just never mind. Okay.
You want to put it up?
Yes. Let me get this. Here we go. So it starts out preparation for the test. It says, before the test, I followed the instructions and prepared 3 wired headphone sets. One set was placed on my ears, another held in my hands, and the third positioned on my forehead and the back of my head. I also ensured that the environment was quiet to allow for full concentration during the test. During the test, once the test began, I relaxed as usual and refrained from checking the chat room on my phone. During the session, I sensed stronger energy on my right side and felt a slight tingling sensation throughout my body. This tingling sensation is something I've experienced in the past, even without headphones, so I did not find it particularly unusual. Overall, the process was very calming, and I continued until I heard the notification that the session had concluded. Experiences after the test. In the 1 to 2 days following the test, I noticed that I completely forgot to eat, yet I did not feel hungry. On one particular day, I neither felt thirsty nor hungry at all. On December 24th, Christmas Eve, I had an extraordinary experience. I felt an overwhelming sense of contentment and inner peace, unlike anything I had ever experienced before. I had no appetite, and even when I went to the supermarket, I felt no desire to purchase anything. This inner joy and fulfillment were deeply moving, and I consider it a profound gift. I sincerely hope to share this feeling with others in the future. Other observations. In the days following the test, I noticed that upon waking, I would occasionally feel a strong sensation emanating from my chest. This feeling was very positive, though difficult to describe in words. It left me with a deep sense of peace and joy. This sensation didn't happen every day, but when it did, it was most noticeable during the moments when I was just waking up, in a state between sleep and wakefulness. I will continue to observe and reflect on this experience, hoping to understand it better.
Thank you very much. For those of you who come to the sessions of 14th of February, and those of you coming to February, March and April, we'll send you an email prior. If you have ganses of zinc and CO2 and CH3 with their amino acid, try to fill a glass container. Don't use plastic. Use a glass bottle, small glass bottles, and put in each bottle the same amount. A third of each, a third of CO2, Zn and CH3. And if you have any amino acid of them, put it in them. And during the session, hold it in your hand. You can put them aside, don't hold them, and then hold them during the session and feel the difference. We transmit structures through our system, through your headphones, which this will give you a totally new dimension of experience. You will understand once you go through the session why we do this. And then for the sessions coming after April, the sessions will have a material you have to purchase from the Keshe Foundation for it. And with this material, where you hold it in your left and the right hand, gives you the first phases of transmutation. As I said, with the group we tested last Saturday, we had to wait 2-3 hours. Even they didn't understand what's going on till what they said they felt afterwards. We have built most of you in the structure of your soul, knowing when they receive is correct, whatever, to the point that some of you are ready to go through that process. So we tested with you in this session, and in May, June, July session, we bring you that structure of the transmutation to see how you can do. It's a special material. In a way, those of you who bought the head units with the 2 sticks, you should be able to start testing those before June, July, when they start going out next month. Gives you the first phases of that is for your body. That the sessions will give you the thing. These materials which we'll send out for the session of May, June, July will become the backbone of, for example, you go to an office, you want to transmute, this is where you're going. It's preset to the point and dimension where you're going to go, which you decide through your emotion. So we're going through that part of the transmutation. This is why in our direction of the general report, what's going to happen in 2025, we have allocated September, October for the transportation for government. So we're preparing you that some of you will be learning in August, September, that we can demonstrate this to the world, that they can see how easily man can travel the span of the universe, most probably, without paying $5,000 first class. You travel plasma class, and then it's free. Okay, these all the tools we put out has a purpose, and we are just getting there in time with it. If you have the love package of the soaps, and you sit for the session on the 14th of February, wash your hand with it and sit and enjoy the ride. You will have an experience of lifetime. Any other question?
Yes, could you, I just had it up here, let me get it up again with the pause scans. We had a question about that. There it is. Now, the question was from Marinez, what is the, she says Trinity pause? Is there a Trinity pause, or is she talking about the Twinity
It's
pause?
a Twinity pause.
Okay, that would be this one. And she would like to know what that is, what it's good for.
This is this is built and made. Actually, what I taught in the first part sits partially in this system. Interaction of the field with the structure of the body of the man, fields, not with the physicality of the man. Pause we put out for ladies, and where does it come? When you come to a pause in the world, it comes when you stop your sexual behavior. The body suddenly gets certain hormones, and then from the doctor says your hormones has changed and you don't feel touching your partner. The intimacy is not important, sometimes regrettable. And this, as I said this morning, section, you have the hormones, then you get the emotion. And what does this do? It's, you put the pause on the emotion with your partner. That's what is called menopause. You pause it because hormone guy at the top has to start working something else out. So you have to deal with the bus, not with the car crash. You have to find where the brake is broken, and you keep on having accident. You don't just keep on repairing. And then you see the process over time. Change of fields, change of fields. And this is dealing with the fields of the creation, not the physicality of the creator. And that's what it is for. We had a testimonial from someone who used it, and it was very interesting. I was reading it, that my husband cannot believe I've changed. And he keeps on asking me why. I said, I've done nothing. It's just something to do with the Keshe Foundation, doesn't it? He says, I don't know. You have to decide. So you have to understand, we deal with the fields, not with the physicality. And the fields are masters. Physicality is a slave to the fields. Be it hormone, be it emotion, be it everything else. Remember, it's very simple. I explained this once before. You have to send the information from your brain, this energy, to your arm for your arm to move. Your arm doesn't move, it doesn't get the information from the brain through energy. And this is how the cycle of creation is. We use that energy. the information receives, and then the body reacts. All the gases we put out, I spend hours, days, nearly 2 months in assessing every aspect of one product in this Trinity sets before it goes out. Everything is calculated to what effect it has. If it doesn't, if you so don't see any change, I said it's called Trinity. Change the ratio of the 1 and 2 in the mixture you use. It'll hit you. Will interact with you. This is why it's in two combination. You have to find where to tune it to fit you. It's not just one is for the front, two for the back. If you don't feel, or even if you felt the change and it becomes steady, you start changing the ratios between back and the front and the back, and cover the whole spectrum. For example, if you have the soaps, different soaps have a different structural mixture. Use, even it's the same, not two are the same during the mass. Use one today or the other one tomorrow. When you use the headphones, the twin sets headphones, use one headset today, one headset tomorrow, use the other one for the other aspects. And we were asked if we can swap the Trinity sets, preferably not to, because they carry information, they hold on to information. If you can use it for yourself, it's no problem, but the one you use for yourself, always keep to yourself. The one you give to the others, that's what you tell them, that carries energy from apple to orange and the rest of it. In a way, it's a training, in a way, shaping up the system. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. We have a number of questions here. Let me see, we can go to the YouTube, and we have a question from Edward, who says, hello, Mr. Keshe. Can you elaborate a bit on voluntary attention and whether this could be a tool in the process of transmutation?
What do you call a voluntary attention? You deliberately pay attention to do something.
Well, yes, and so we could say we use our attention to change attention on our posture or our thoughts or feeling.
Yeah, you got to learn attention comes from physicality, emotion comes from the energy source. Try to pay attention to the emotion. Try to understand your emotion. I said this once before and I repeat it again if you understand. The skin of the man has 3 layers: the outer, the inner, the middle. Your skin, your outer layers of your brain is the outer skin. It's what to do with outside. That's what is there. That's why you reflect sometimes so fast, because the information doesn't come from inside. The information already sits on the outside. The boundary of the brain of the man sits on the boundary of it. Let me see if I can go on to this thing. If I choose it on this one, just give me a second. Trick. I have to use this trick. This gives me less problem on the other side. Okay. This is your skull. This is your brain. It's the easiest. As you know, I'm the lousiest drawer. If I was Picasso, I'll go bankrupt. This is the position of your soul. In a way, you go this way. And then you have the position of the, they're called the small brain, which is a very important conversion from the main to the body. Goes on your spinal cord. Here is the system controlling your shoulder, upper arm. Here is the brain, so it's directly connected to it. And from here to here is your lower arm, from your elbow to your hand. I have to draw something here for you. These are your ears. Very nice ears. Now, this position here is the palm of your hand. And this position you find is your fingers, whatever. The position of the emotion sits around here. Actual part of the brain which controls the hormones sit here. And then it goes your thalamus on the other, what they call it, glands in the brain, which we don't even understand it. Then here sits the operation of soul of physicality partially. And then here, as we said, you have the soul of the man. And in a way, in the dimension of physicality, you have your, I think this is what I chose for your body, the skin. So your skin goes there. The skin has an outer layer. The skin has a middle layer. And the skin has a, inner layer. The outer layer is to do with outside. That's why when you take the soap, it touches it. The inner layer is directly connected to your emotion. And the inside layer directly connected to your hormones, because it comes inside. You want me to centralize? Yes. Okay, I move it again now. Do you see it? I see on my other things while you're talking about the other problem, seeing the picture. I try to move it a little bit. It has to move on this one. Try to move it in the middle. I hope this is okay with you. Now you understand it better. So, you see how we are connected. And this process of what we call the soul of physicality covers, let me choose another color that you can see. The soul of physicality covers the whole of the operation. And it deals with the soul of the man. So when we talk about emotion and everything else, when you see somebody had an emotional condition and they have a brain stroke, what happens here? This is the heart of the man. I have to do it properly. There you see. The energy, you have a scared, you had a bad news, the energy goes up this way. And being the body of the man and your heart is slightly to one side or other, the energy can go either way. Then you have a dilemma as a human being that this is your upper arm. I have to change it to this one that you can see. Let me clear up. This is how it works. Now you had a bad news. What's going to happen? The heart moves slightly, so the energy goes up this way. What's going to happen? This is the right side. You see paralysis in this side of the brain body. The energy touches. Depends if this energy is in a way strong enough, what effect you see in physicality. Because it has actually, if you understood, has touched your upper arm and shoulder energy fields. You're covered by this thing. So physically, you show reaction, energy to the nerves. You get your arm, upper shoulder locked. Let me get it up here. Your upper shoulder locked. You get paralysis in this. And then lower the hand twist, the arm locks, and we see the signs of a stroke. The position of the heart dictates, if you have a stroke, which part of the body is going to get hit. And the energy of the release from this emotion, or if the energy comes directly from emotion, that it creates another condition which comes through this system in the middle, through your nervous system. You get somebody hit you, shock you. The energy release goes this way and up. You see the paralysis. And this will create the conditions we know. And in a simple way, what you see as a twist of the arm and everything else is because this part has been touched. If the heart attack comes at the point of later on in a, let's say, in the motion of the heart, because your heart continuously moves, the heartbeat. Now, if this heartbeat comes in a different position when the heart's position is here, now you hit this one. You get a massive problem with the upper arm, lower arm, and the fingers. So the microsecond of the release of energy, the position of the heart, all dictates everything else. But the energy released is so immense, is so powerful, because it's connected to your emotion, through your blood circulation. It ruptures the blood vessels in the body of the man. And you see brain hemorrhage, you see brain clots and the rest of it. In a way, the energy absorption they take by the blood vessels inside because inside the brain there is no blood vessels. On the boundary of it creates these blood patches that the doctors tell you everything else about, which put pressure on the brain itself. So energy of us dictates what we release, emotion, in how our body reacts, how our solar physicality reacts, how our physically will show emotions after the effect of a stroke. All because our body is structured this way. Our brains are structured this way. And because we have two half of the brain, which is part of us in a way, we bring in the, what do you call it, different conditions and different positions. In the plasma technology, we understand the world of the creation, physicality of the man, in the energy operation, not physical operation. And so as you see your skin, that's why they tell you the skin of the man is part of the brain of the man. Now you see the connection. You see how it's done. And what is connected to what. So when you, for example, use the ganses on the hand, we'll come to the point of you, what do you call it, getting energy at this level. And then what happens to you? You receive energy here. And this energy again in three ways will go through the emotion and to the hormones. And when you look at the body of the man, you see how you're connected to each other. And this is how with plasma technology, we go, we touch, we come to the point of, in a way, with your headphones, we, as I said, treat you directly in. It comes in, it's the soul of physicality, and then I already touch your physicality, your fingers are here. This is why we tell you in the coming sessions, come with the ganses holding in your hand, because we send the information, you holding the ganses in your hand, and copy of your hand is by your ear. So I touch your physicality directly. I don't need to do anything else. I'm with it, touch the hormones, touch the emotion and the soul. Doctors go by medicine trying to do it. You learn how to do it by the fields of the universe, because this is connected to the universal energy. The other one gives you what is connected to Earth, and it's limited, has control. This is the science behind the structure work of the fields using plasma technology, understanding fields and how they're assessed, than what you see in the brain of the man or the physicality of the man. And this is important for future to be understood. You have a brain hemorrhage with a bleeding. Very simply, you've done it to yourself. Why do they tell you keep your blood thinner, keep your what do you call it, cholesterol low? Because when you do, you create, the structure is very simple. The more mass you have, the more energy you absorb. So when you have that massive energy coming up here, if his blood is thin, doesn't have much material in it, you absorb less energy, less bleeding, less problem. When you have a Thicker blood with all the materials in it is different. But having a cholesterol, high cholesterol, in this condition is much better. Doctors try to tell you something else. But if you understand that cholesterol is what we call amino acid, more molecules in absorbing energy from the same, high blood pressure, you call it, is different than high cholesterol. Cholesterol at a certain levels is beneficial to the operation of the energy for a stroke because you got amino acid. In high blood pressure, you're dealing with more elements like sodium, like calcium, or whatever in the blood cell. It's two different things. That's why they tell you. So high cholesterol to a certain level is beneficial. If you have a stroke, it absorbs the energy because it's of the same. In the, what we call blood pressure, high blood pressure, because of the what do you call the iron and the other thing. Let me explain. Cholesterol is a plasma energy control. Blood pressure is a matter state. And if you understand this, you understand a lot of things which are said in the world of medicine today is absolutely useless. It's just been documented to keep you sick, to be able to get you on the operating table and everything else. But we have to understand and separate energy from matter state and what comes. Why do we have a blood pressure is not good, or what do you call it, what cholesterol at certain levels are good. I personally don't accept for myself low cholesterol. Cholesterol up to a level for me, to my knowledge, is the best thing to have for a stroke. This is why we see less stroke in the younger people, because they're dynamic, the plasma flows in their body, they refresh their brain cells, fresh cells, and then you have a fresh blood with a more active proteins. And as we get older, this changes. So we have to find, we will understand in the long term that why do we have a high blood pressure problem and high cholesterol. Is now they made in a way that both, not really. One is a plasma condition, one is a matter condition plasma, which is two different things. When you have a high blood pressure, when this energy comes from the, what do you call it, from the heart up, it has a different constitution of hitting the brain. And then if you have a higher cholesterol, then there is a different constitution again. This in 1930s and before, before Rockefeller got hold of understanding and mixing up the cholesterol with everything else, 30 and what do you call it, 300 cholesterols were totally treated different ways with a higher cholesterol. People with a higher cholesterol hardly had any diseases, some of them. Has a reason for it. And we saw how the history of medicine changed when Rockefeller understood things petroleum-based goods can harm more than it can control, and the present medicine came of it. It's a long story, go back. This is understanding the work of the creation, that understanding the work of minerals, and how one is controlling the other one. And you have to read it, understand the history of medicine, how we went the way we gone. because my ancestors come from the world of medicine, the medicine mans. And they understood this. They literally went out of major city to the remotest part, the last literally village, the last place before that, the height that nothing was growing, and they start building or structuring farms just to create herbs which are not contaminated. They understood the contamination at that time and what herbs in which area had to be done. They understood the power of the herbs as a plasma and what effects it has. And now we understand it as a plasma. It's energy fields. We can understand in more details. From my great grandfather to me, the difference is he saw the effects. Now we know the reason. Educated, understand the process of the field. Any other question?
Oh yes, we have around 14 or 15 questions in the Q&A here, but we'll see how we get through here. I think I should probably just go in order. Jefferson from Brazil says, thank you very much for being here with us. Here in the country where I live, Brazil, we have many regions where the heat is sometimes extremely high. We have recorded temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius. My question is, how can we use magnetic and gravitational fields to reduce the temperature of an environment? Is there any combination of GANs or static or dynamic reactors with which this can be achieved? And would there also be any way to increase the temperature in the cold regions of the country? Thank you very much.
You have to understand the culture of your environment. You have to understand what the environment creates as a field-wise that leads to the creation of these conditions. And in a way, you cannot interfere, because one area is part of a bigger structure of the whole work of this planet. It is not just one place which you have. But you can use your environmental conditions to change it. Or you can create conditions in part of the program we set out will we become very, what do you call it, clear about this, how you can change your environment. But you have to understand, once you change your environment, another environment has to change to adjust for what you changed. You have a high temperature or you have a low temperature. If you bring the temperature down in your area, you find out through the plasma technology, you create other problems, because the rest of around you is used to another condition which is you can't change. Always when you deal with the environmental condition, doesn't matter on this planet or you're in the space, you're trying to change field forces to suit you, try to understand the whole concept, the whole structure of what would you affect to the rest of the environment, a bigger picture, not just localized. Temporarily you can. You can create a condition to absorb all the energies to feed your souls as passengers. Maybe have 1 million, 2 million people carrying at the same time, which is normal in the universe. We are happy with what we call Airbus 380 with 600 people, and some what you call UFO 600,000, 1 million people are carried, or individuals or souls are being carried. It's very normal, because you don't need energy, you tap into universal energy conversion. In this process, you have to watch what we did it. I explained to you, data is available, just go and see. We changed the environment in northern what do you call it, Beijing, a couple of months later in northern China, and then back in Beijing using the same systems. We know how to interact and how to change. But what did it bring? It brought chaos into Beijing. Just go and read 2023 Beijing summer rains. And I received a call. Are you running a system in Beijing? I said, yes, switch it up. And within a couple of hours, everything changed. Because we can change the environment. You have a drought, yes, create a rain for a week, for enough that doesn't affect the social structure, but stop. You don't need to have continuous rain. You don't use chemtrails and all the chemicals. You use plasmatic magnetic field of the earth. And you have to have the knowledge to know how to operate it. What brings what condition. And how you create materials. Let me explain to you the science of material and the weather, but in a different way. I'll go back to here because this is better. New whiteboard. Okay. When we use a specific type of systems that are especially designed for this job, it's not just by random. In the present, what we see in America, we see in Tehran and other part of the world, they shoot, and it was the old system as well, and then the United Nations stopped it, and then it created mayhem with aluminiums and the rest of it. They shoot in very nanoparticles of, let's say, aluminium. These are cold, they hit the atmosphere, they become attached water to it, and they come down as a raindrop. Now you have, let's say, aluminium particles. With us, if you understood what I explained, with specific production of a specific structure, we create a field. And these fields, as I said, the knowledge of the technology was that the fields of the earth and the sun interact and create miniature plasmas, which these plasmas later on become gold, silver, whatever rains on earth due to the inertia. So I create in my system inertia of the oxygen. This oxygen in entering, mixing with nitrogen and mixing with hydrogen becomes raindrop. The power of the rain on your city by your government in shooting material into the, what you call, the sky is in how many, what do you call it, aluminum particles were shot into the sky. With me, with my work, with what we understand, I have access to universal particles from the interaction of the field of the planet. Here, aluminum brings disaster and everything other problem, or chemtrails you call it. Here, I bring bounty and beauty. Here, when it rains on the field, the aluminum can lead whatever goes into the plants and become the problem of the future of contamination. Here, I bring natural resources. Creating it, understanding it, in a way we can, with the knowledge we have now, we can set our system in a way that it rains the energy of an apple or a banana. because that energy spectrum exists in the interaction of the fields of the plasma of the Earth and the Sun anyway in our atmosphere. Here, you bring down with the man technology aluminium. With this, I bring the energy of food, rain. This is what I said to the Chinese officers. When I rain, is exactly like the rain from the Creator. Is the love rains on the cat, the dog, the man, and everything else with the same energy. Then, if you understand this, you understand, do we need satellites? Do we need to create all these flights? You rain, and in your rain is every food man. And rain once a week, as you heard, people get used to it because the energy balance is there. They get their food, and you put everything in it. We know how to do. We have this knowledge. It's in our possession. And this is set for September of next year to be released. This is what we have to understand. And then when we change the climate, to what extent you want to change the climate? Officers outside the building were reporting showering gold. I have a video I can show you where the officer shakes his clothes. Chinese general shakes his clothes because there's so much gold on it, plus other materials. We know the technology, but now you understand. I can rain upon you love like nothing. I just put the system in there which creates the emotion of love because I know how the hormone was made. This is how you change the environment. But you have to understand, you change the radius of so much. What are you doing to these here? Not much. But you create a cooler condition, you create a flow of things in, and then you get the massive storms. What we saw in Beijing. There's a knowledge, there's a technology in this, and you have to do it. You can change your environment. You can change everything. The knowledge is there. We release this knowledge as a commercial structure that it goes in public immediately. And nobody can stop it.
Mr. Keshe, would that be similar for the question regarding the problem of mosquitoes? We had a question from Danielle from the Brazilian community again, that mosquitoes transmit dengue, fever, and several other diseases. So
you can change them. There's a structure that mosquitoes certain temperature don't exist, cannot do. But there's another way to handle these mosquitoes. You have to understand the energy of the mosquito and handle it that way.
So they're asking, is there a kind of spray that they should use?
You don't need a spray. You can do it with plasma fields. I've traveled in Africa for nearly 20 years. I lived in Africa, never touched by a single mosquito. It's the fields we create the fields we carry. I was talking to one of the knowledge seekers, I think yesterday. I went with the ambassador of Sierra Leone to Sierra Leone, and President of Sierra Leone said to take me to the Southern Sierra Leone University. And because we came from North University, we had to go to the South, so we had to stay somewhere in between at night. He said to me, the ambassador, I'll take you to only 4-star hotel in the city. And the only 4-star hotel was a room with a mattress on the floor, with the bathroom not working, and they had to bring you buckets of hot water to have a shower. But there was a hook on the ceiling. I carried those days a mosquito net with which was impregnated with anti-mosquito. And this thing fell, and I was sleeping in the room without it or whatever, and woke up in the morning. And they were all worried if I'd been bitten by mosquitoes. I said, no. And somehow I lived in Africa for years. I don't get touched by mosquitoes. Do I create a field that it doesn't affect or doesn't attract? Or is there another reason for it? We can explain later on. But you can create that condition. Mosquitoes exist with man, but they don't touch the man. We understand that field, that operation, not spraying it. And interesting enough, there are certain plants in Africa or in Brazil near where the mosquitoes are, and watch if mosquitoes sit on them. Use those to create the environmental condition, make gases of them. They tell you use lavender around the building and everything. Why? Because they create a field. It's not that they don't like the wood, they create a field, a plasmatic field, which does not fit the soul, the emotion of the mosquito or anything else. One of the most beautiful sceneries in the world is if you drive to south of France during this midsummer, when they cultivate lavender. The purple pinkish is an ocean of the life. It's one of the most amazing pictures. It's just like going to Holland in April, May, when you see all the tulips. And what do they create? You don't find any mosquitoes, nothing in that area. Because they create a plasmatic field which does not match the solar physicality of the animal. You know that the gas technology, find a plant, make the gas of it, and just put it around the house. The whole summer, winter, you're safe. The difference is the lavender plasma goes to 10 centimeters. By you making the gas of it, it goes 20 meters. That's the difference. You expand the field. Understand the knowledge. In the next few weeks, Keshe Foundation will bring out new products which is set in resins, and it's like coasters and the split catchers and other items that you can put around the house for a specific condition. And we try to meet this before summer for especially for mosquitoes and flies. That you put these coasters around, these objects around the house, and you'll see the result. The same will go with if you have a high blood pressure, or you have cholesterol, the way we do with the cups. We now come out with the new products, much more effective. In the next few weeks and months, you will see the products will come on the Keshe Foundation. You just hang these dream catchers, you call it, 2 or 3 around the house, and then you tell us how you feel about, have you seen any mosquitoes? We developed this some time ago. Now it's coming in, but it has to understood why and how the way it's done. We had somebody trying to copy it because we were testing it, and they said we're getting more and some mosquitoes. Why? I said, because you don't know. You just hear what we do. You think what it is, but you don't understand the technology we use behind it. One of the biggest problem which we looked at some years ago and will bring it is um, you have crickets which run in millions, destroying the lands right across Africa and everywhere. Hopefully in 2026 we'll have the technology to stop this menace at source. The way we showed you, we did with the farm in China with all the pests. Or if you're Chinese, you know what the Chinese do, how they get rid of the pest. Here we spray with chemicals. Chinese brings ducks. Hundreds of thousands of ducks go through the fields, rice fields, and they eat the pest and at the same time give fertilizers. You use old tradition, or you use frogs. Any other question? You know, in China, sorry about this, just tell you something very interesting. I don't have a picture of it. I've seen the picture of it somewhere in my archives. In China, there's an area where they grow rice and they sell crab. The crab is grown with the rice because crabs is all the pests or parasites. And the farmers have two products, the crab and the rice. And the crab takes 2 years. They collect them when they're small, and next year when they put the seed on, they put them back in and they grow. When you go to the farm, you what do you call it? You can buy crab and the rice. It's a natural way of controlling pests. And then some use frogs, the big frogs. And some Chinese have brought these frogs, which were used for pest control, into Germany. And now we see it in the United States. They brought them in as a tap hole, let them out free in rivers and what do you call it, the ponds and lakes. And now Germany actually export these frogs back to China as an exporting material, as an income for food. Pest control. Any other question?
Well, that's kind of an interesting segue to another question from Cristiano, in that we talked about mosquitoes and they're usually after blood. This is a blood question, but it also...
Female mosquitoes bite with the blood.
Good point,
Not the
yes.
male, yeah.
And
they need it to hatch their eggs.
You mentioned the crab.
Okay. Yeah, and you know, talking about this, do you know how you recognize the what do you call, or one of the ways to recognize the difference between the normal mosquito and the malaria mosquito? If you have a mosquito, normal mosquito, it sits like this. A malaria mosquito sits like this. You know, if you're beaten by looking at the mosquito, you know if you're beaten by the malaria mosquito or by a normal mosquito. If you walk in an area, this is one of the first things you learn when you go to Africa, how to watch for. If you see any mosquito sitting on a plant or somewhere with a tail up, more or less 90 degrees, you walk away. You know the area is infested. Carry on.
Okay, in this particular question, Cristiano goes on to say, in past teachings, you told us that there's a blue-blooded animal called the horseshoe crab. And that was the other segue, is I combined crab plus mosquito in the same question here. Called a horseshoe crab, which created the condition for it to live on this planet, and that it was not from this planet. This reminded me of teachings where you have said that man carries the field strengths of this planet in his blood. Then I remembered teachings where you said that many of us are not from this planet. So the question is there a blood type relationship that carries this information, such as type A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus, AB plus, AB minus, O plus, O minus?
Oh God, oh my God.
Please expand our knowledge of the differences in blood type?
We carry in a mixture of blood. I tell you this openly, I've said that before. When I got poisoned by my ex with materials to kill, and then now somebody who we know as Dr. Kostova was with us and was looking after us medically. She said she wants to test the blood. They took the blood, it was sent to Germany, a special lab testing it to see what was the poison. And in that combination, they found, there's a report of it, she has a copy, and there is one in Keshe Foundation archive document. I carry a nuclear-based material which is a certain planet, somewhere in the galaxies. And she used to pull my leg, says, now we know you're an alien, you're not from here. That's why you are like this. Because now we have it in your blood. Nobody has this. In the test, because we looked for it, we looked to see what it is, and they found I was poisoned by arsenic and bella. And the strange thing is that every time we took her to the hospital, doctors in Italy, they said there is nothing, it's all fake, because then you would have shown indication of trying to attempt when you are claimed to be poisoned, so you're not a suspect. By the police of Italy had her as one of the major suspects because doctors couldn't show anything, and it was all pretend. And in that blood, Dr. Kostova told us that you carry a radioactive material which doesn't belong to this planet. One day she will release it. And does it make you an alien? Or has the process of working in nuclear facilities, working with nuclear material so closely, has created that new dimension that absorbs the radiation and I can handle nuclear materials? Or is it because was within me that has brought the condition that I can do? The condition of environment changes our dictation, what do you call it, the perception and the way we live. You move over decades, thousands of years from Africa as a black, and you become Chinese, or you become blonde blue in Northern Europe. And this is just by the environmental condition. I work with nuclear material closely. I used to drive my professors in Queen Mary College, and then even the Belgium Nuclear Center when we used to do the tests, and then the Iranians in Sharif University. I handle nuclear material like sweets. They used to go nuts. Has process of being in the radiation field from age of 7, 8, with X-ray machines and then other machines, physically handling them, handling the what do you call it, the elements of the what do you call it, X-ray machines in my hand, has that changed or converted something in my body that I have become immune to radiation? And it shows in my blood. Or is it the blood which has come in through other sources which we cannot define? But Dr. Kosovo always said, now we know you're not humanoid. But is it brought in, or is it because the way you change from black to Chinese, handling nuclear materials has changed my body to this position? You got to understand, the day in the 25th of 23rd of 25th of November 2011, when the Belgian authorities came to my lab with the police and everything else, inside the reactors operating, there were some 450 plus nuclear sources in the radius of 4 by 6 in one lab. And every single one of them inside the systems or outside were stuck, glued by hand. And it's not one or two sources. It's registered in the document of the government because they had to count it to put it in a safe in my own lab for holding nuclear material. But you hold 400 and plus elements. And even in Iran, because we use these elements inside the reactor, both inside and outside, the radiation was so high. This used to be scared out of the skin coming into the lab. And I used to sit and change the combination every 2 or 3 hours because there was another setting to be done. And I don't hold the, if you ever hold radiation material, they put it in a safe package and the radiation source is here. I always held the radiation source there because you have to glue the back of it to the wall. You have no other choice, you can't stick it. Has my working with the radiation has brought a change in my blood? Or, as Dr. Kosovo used to say, I'm an alien. But it's the same. Here we are conditioned to certain radiations and inertia from our planet, which changes our color of the skin and everything else. In other planets, it's radiation, it's massive radiation. Life exists, so the life has changed to match its environment. Would we put that into operation, bring, let's say, a male from that planet and a female from Earth with a high radiation, would they be able to conceive a child? Because in the DNA will be destroyed by that high strength. This is why we try to teach you to understand to the next of our education about children of the soul, because souls are not radioactive. Cannot be. Physical dimension does. And the way we change color because of the inertia, as beautiful thing which President Trump said very recently, black, white, yellow, we all bleed the same red blood. In space, their blood has a contamination according to their environment and won't match us. And the best way to do is, instead of transferring into energy of the matter state, radiation or whatever, to create a DNA, you work with the master, which is the energy of the soul of the man and the creature. And you create the child of universe, which is child of Mitra. Which comes from detachment from any physicality, and that's what it means to be a child of Mitra. You create it out of the fields of the universe, not from the matter state of the universe. And when we say, I made man in the image of myself, the true image is the image of the soul of children of Mitra, because they're a replication of the Creator. They come from the energy, not from the matter. So, does our blood, how fit A, O, B, and C. And in the blood which we gave to FDA of Ghana, they tested the blood. They said it fits everyone, every blood type. This is a solution to all the diseases. And this is what will come out in 2025 as part of the structure of the release of technology. There is a saying in the world of boxing. They say you punch drunk your opponent. You throw so many punches to the head that it doesn't know what it is. 2025, we punch drunk the man with the science and technology and systems. Doesn't know which way you come. They forget about the wars and everything else. How long will it take to keep him busy till it comes up with that? And that's the thing, is a different thing will take him to space. And this blood type is one of them. When I created the blood, this was the whole main objective. When the FDA officers tested it, they were just baffled by how this does work. O, A, B, C, whatever you got it, you work for it. Any other question?
Yes, we have some questions in the Q&A from George. George's first question about the gas unit. Some time ago, you spoke about testing the gas unit in a prison area with, quote, full-body tattooed inmates. Did you get any results or have any results about the use of the gas unit in such an environment?
The GANS unit, yes, is fully documented.
The GANS unit or gas unit?
GANS unit. It's not a gas unit, it's GANS unit.
Oh, okay.
It's tested, yes. Fully documented, yes.
Well, didn't you mention today that the gas unit can be useful to create
the gas unit is the more advanced version now. That time when the test was done with gases.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, George has a second question. And you spoke about the benefits of walking barefoot on the grass. But if you walk barefoot in a plasma spaceship, do you have the same benefit or not?
Yes, because then you control what you put in that plasma, yes. Do you have a blood circulation? Are you still living in the dimension of the planet Earth? Well, that's the difference. The walking on the grass, walking on Earth, on the ground, shapes your character. And you absorb what you need from the environment. They say if you want to stop your allergies into whatever for your children or whatever, you buy the honey from the environment you live in. You don't buy honey from outside. And as your children eat the honey, they get in a way balanced with all the things and salts, hay fever and whatever else. It's the same with when you walk on the ground, on the floor. You absorb the energies which are in your environment, which your body is built out of. Even though nowadays you get a fruit from South Africa and during the winter in the North Europe. But primarily you take from it, we do. This is one of the reasons we enjoy walking in the sea, on the beaches. We connect both to the earth and the air and the liquid of this planet at the same time. when you walk, just go and walk. I used to test this. It's part of my hobby. I used to see what the difference is. I used to travel to one of the most famous shores of the world, and I used to go for a walk 4 o'clock in the morning every day. And you walk one day in the ocean barefoot, and next day don't let any water touch you. Just walk on the sand and observe your emotion. Wash your face. We all go on holidays. You test this. It's amazing what it does to you. You walk on the beach. The night before, take some water from the ocean with you and wash your face before you go, but don't touch the water, and say how emotionally you change. I have tested these things over years and years. When I used to live in Gambia, the hotel was on the beach, and every morning I used to walk with the bodyguards all the way. The length of the coast of Gambia is about 17 miles. That's how much it could throw a cannonball, and it became a border. And you walk on the beaches of the Gambian coast, and it's totally different than walking on the beaches of Bahamas or Persian Caspian Sea or anywhere else I've walked. I couldn't understand why till I cracked it one day. And if you walk on the coast of Africa, East Africa, West Africa, I've never been to the East Africa. When you walk on the coasts of West Africa, it feels different walking, different energy, and it feels very beautiful. You don't get this anywhere else. I unraveled the secret. One night I was with our drivers in a Range Rover, what do you call it, convertible safari car. And my boys were with me. And it was very strange. If you put your headlights on, it looks like millions of cat's eyes look at you. They're tiny crabs. They all live on the surface. And the minute you come, they go under. You can't kill any of them because they're so fast. They go into the little holes they have. But if you stand still and put the flashlights, you see hundreds of thousands of the, what do you call, the crab eyes looking at you. Then I realized where the difference is. There's a life energy underneath you in East Coast Africa. You don't get that anywhere else. Our environment touches us, and how we get from it, what we get from it. And these animals under there, they change the environment. Millions of them, and we walk over them. Sand, you walk naked, barefoot. You walk with shoes. You just feel your emotion. Wear cotton shoes and wear synthetic shoes, and then wear leather shoes. And then see how you feel, how you behave towards your partner, your children, and everything else. And then you understand what the grass and what the floor does to you. It's not just the ground. You wear a synthetic clothing and you wear a cotton and what do you call linen clothing and the rest, and see how you feel. Wake up in a polyester, what do you call, man-made sheets, and sleep in what do you call cotton sheets, and see what difference it makes to you. I observe all these things. It's just because what it does. Any other question?
I have a couple of questions, in fact, 3 on the ganses from Cristiano in the Brazilian community. How to use the sight GANs? Is it for personal use only?
Personal use only, yes. There is a new site GANs, which if you order from this week on, you'll get it. It's different than the original one, which came out. This is a very enhancement. It's totally different. Oh, I remembered something I have to do. Just 1 second. Oh, good job. Okay. The new side GANs is developed totally for, it's amazing structure than the one we had before. It's just, as I said, with us, we just upgrade, we just develop, we add. This one is when you use the water, you put it on the front and the back and on the eyelashes outside. You never put the gas waters in your eye. And it connects the energy fields in a very strong way. And it's the first time when you use gases, you will see most probably change of color on the skin. But it's temporarily, it goes away. But effectively, we have upgraded most of the, especially the side GANs, in the new batch of orders. If you had a GANs, iGANs before, this one is amazing. You will see it when you see it. If you ever get the second one, you see the difference, and it's effective different. And the next batch will be even upgraded compared to this because there is a development in the technology. You have to tell us. We had a lot of very good testimonials on it. People who used it. If you use the gases and you don't see much effect, especially the twin system, mix the material in small batches, the water together in different ratios until you find, and then even if you find how good for a few days, change the ratio again to the next ratio that you cover the full spectrum of the energies. And it's very interesting what we receive as site testimonials, people who use this as just ordinary water. Any other question?
There was a question from Utah, similar. Can you use the soaps or the NutriGANs if you use the iGANs at the same time?
They don't interact with each other. They're set different way. Yes.
Okay, and
try to use the side GANs just before you go to sleep. That the natural process and the rest position to work. Because when you use it during the day, it's recommended to do it morning and evening. But the evening side, because it's a rest condition, physically eye is not used. The process of interaction of the fields is very beautiful.
And this is to be used inside the water dispenser, is that correct?
Recommended.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We know some people opening it and using it direct, or some people just using the gas water. These are sold for, what do you call it, to be used as dispensers.
Question from Doug, again about the soap. Can we use the soap even when it's still wrapped? As Mr. Keshe said, carrying it around in our pocket?
You could do, but you concentrate the fields in one place. It's very interesting that the one we put in for the lovers, GANs, body soap. We're getting some strange testimonials with it. What is ended up with them and what fun they had with it. But you got to remember, it's you who interacts with the material, and your emotion counts as part of the material. And especially when you use certain gases, which creates the interaction between you and your partners. We had cases where the husband was too eager to use the flag and the pole, and created a big problem in their relationship because the lady is not interested, and the man has got himself running high. So this is what when you purchase these gases, because it works with their fields, it's not a medicine. In the interaction of it is there. You have to always watch. When the very first time we tested these in one of the countries, a husband and wife volunteered with the supervision of FDA. And it was amazing what created this problem. That the couple got so involved with each other that they wouldn't even go to work. And the guy called us in the middle of the day, "Can you stop this? It's beyond control. My emotion, my affection to my wife, and the same with her, because we tested a couple. FDA wanted a couple to be tested." And he created mayhem for this couple. And then we knew the power of this. Is nearly some years ago. You have to understand, everything is used in moderation, but everything has to be used the way it's said. I remember sitting in the office receiving calls from the husband. He was an insurance broker. He says, "I cannot get to my work to just stop using the material. I stopped 2 weeks ago, but it's still going." I said, "Just hold on till it wears off." It took nearly God knows how long to wear off. Now, this is a much different version of it. Any other question?
Okay, George has two more questions. One, could you make a plasma toothpaste for daily use?
That's your decision.
Okay. His other question is, what is the untainted emotion needed to connect with the soul?
Can you explain?
Well, untainted would mean, what is the pure emotion that's needed to connect with the soul?
It's when it's done without the influence of the emotional physicality.
That's pretty simple and straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's carry on here. We're on a roll, and we're almost done.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kirsten says, when I concentrate on the field of the universal community, it sometimes happens that the inside of the left side of my nose suddenly opens up and I get more air. This always happens when I feel that I've reached the field of the universal community for a moment.
Can you repeat that?
He says that When I concentrate on the field of the universal community, it sometimes happens that the inside of the left side of my nose suddenly opens up and I get more air. This always happens when I feel I've reached the field of the universal community for a moment. There's a different pressure in my head and it feels lighter and clearer. Could this be a sign from the body that the connection with the universal fields and expanding of the soul has worked?
In a way, yes. Yes, 100%. This is, go back to part of the teaching a few weeks ago that I explained how with breathing you can control transmutation. You're telling us now experimentally you feel it. Because your nose is closest thing to transfer energy to your soul. And when you reach that point, physicality changes. In a way, instead of you controlling your breathing to get there, the energy from your soul changes your breathing. Yes, 100%. It's one of the signs you understand that you, because when you have a block in your nose, you feel the physicality. When it's not there, you're not connected to physicality that much. But with energies which goes, I explained this to one of my children once. Maybe this gives you a very good idea. You smell the rose. You smell the burning. You smell the scent of your partner. You smell the odor of a garlic. And to that, you react. A smell is an energy, is a field. So when you take energy in a way that smells the strength of the soul takes it. It's the only smell that you don't smell, but the soul smells is a field which it receives. And that's how transmutation comes into. And that's how your upper part of your nose, sinuses, close your brain, know your emotion. And then you know you're ready to transmute. And a lot of people, and I explained this many times before in teachings and other places, control their transmutation through the breathing. Because the energy which the structure of the nose has creates that condition of the energy transfer which allows the elevation of the soul to open up. It's literally what we do with the headphones. Your nose does for you, but in two channels, the whole soul expands. And always said breathing is one of the ways you can do even levitation. You can do all sorts of things with breathing because it's the same strength as it's a gaseous state, and you're inside your nose. The whole structure of the nose is very simple. Let me get back into Zoom. I have a problem with this thing. 1 second.
Recording in progress.
Whiteboard. Yep. I try to keep an eye that you see everything. If this is your nose, right in the middle here, right in the middle here, you have a bone. which is more or less hanging, dangling. And how this bone is the tip of your pen, the size of it is so small. How this vibrates and the air passes through as it goes will dictate what you smell. Most of the people in an accident lose their smell is that this bone sticks to the wall, doesn't vibrate anymore, and you lose sense of smell. This is why a lot of people in Corona time lost their smell, because it's calcium-based disease, a virus. It loaded this bone up, and this bone got too heavy and stuck to the this cavity. It's like hanging in a sack. This is why a lot of you lost your smell in the Corona time, because that was the energy of calcium. You always said the Corona is a calcium base. Now this, because it's energy, with this being solid, is gravitational. It pulled it in, and in a way, if you look at it, this bone got heavy and got stuck to the wall, and that's why you don't smell. But the structure of the sac of this material, this is plasmatic, and its function is to feed the soul. Here gives to the nerve, to the brain, and you smell. Here, the containment vibration of this bone, it changes the atmosphere inside this system. So the what we call the bone part is for the physicality of the man, and the what you call the energy side is for the soul of the man. And if you can get this direction, this dimension sorted, ooh, now I understand. Sorry, picture's not there. I'll do it again that you understand. I take it off and I do it again that you see the picture. I didn't notice I put this. I carry different systems here. I don't see it. So I see if it changes this time. So I'm going to take it off and do it again. Start from the beginning that you see everything. You saw the nose. This is your nose. This is the sac or a bag. It's a very, very tiny tissue. And inside it lies a dangling bone. When you breathe, this goes into your nostrils and you go into your lung. The smell is a gas, it's a plasma, so it transfers energy. As the smell comes up, crossing, transfers energy through this sac. And in a way, by energy, moves this bone. And the vibration of this bone here sends the energy to your brain and becomes a smell. This is why odor is crystal structure, because it's a plasma. But this is vibration of physicality, which leads to this, and it goes to the brain. And the vibration of the plasma here goes to the soul. And you see this very easily in the structure of the totality. So one goes to your soul as energy fields in the same sac, and when it's connected to the bone, it goes to your nervous system, becomes information as a smell. God is clever how to make a system work dual carriageway. And if you change your breathing, that you can control the energy in the sac, you can transmute. You can change this with this, and in the lung, you can feed yourself. It is interesting how things take shape in the body of the man. So, yes, your smell sense comes from this bone. And if you damage this bone, it's gone. And as I said in the other drawing I took off, I'll put it back up here. In the, this is a sac, and this is the bone hanging in it. When the corona came, as this energy of calcium is loaded, this became the inertia point. In loaded, it got bigger and it got stuck to the skin, and you lost your sense of a smell. This is why people, when we see with car crash head-on collisions, lose the sense of smell, because this bone moves and it sticks to the wall, so they can't smell. The vibration of this bone dictates the smell, and how much energy is transferred from here to here tells you if it's a wood, if it's a smell of a perfume, and everything else. This is one of the most important part, and partially in a different way, this bone controls in the back door through to your balance of your body too, because the nose in the back is connected to the ear and is connected to the middle ear, which controls your upper body balance. Sometimes when you can't breathe or your breathing becomes tight, you become dizzy and you lose your balance. It's the reason. You see the image now. This bone here is in the what do you call the plasma of energy, which is modern technology, which is here, and this sits here. And when this little tiny bone sticks or loses its control and it sticks to the wall, then you lose your sense of smell. I developed a technology to return this back and you get your smell back. But with people with corona, we have a problem because this is loaded, it's heavier. It's a totally different technology to be able to move this. And this is why most of you have a problem with your, if you lost your sense of smell during the corona, you got it back slowly. It's just because this energy was converted back and the bone has come back, and you still sometimes you don't smell certain things because not the bone itself have been stripped of all the calcium from it. Any other question? But this way you actually, through this, you feed your soul, and then you can, by breathing, create transmutation, because this is connected. You see, I'm going to go on another board. This is too difficult. Whiteboard, yes. You go on the screen, then you can all see it. The structure of your nose is like this, and you breathe through your nostrils, and you feed your body with oxygen. But the most important thing, which, as I always said, world of science hasn't understood, the whole operation of breathing is for your soul, not for your stomach. And your soul sits here. And your nostrils go back down this way into your lungs. So the mouth you have here takes the food in, and then the energy from the food here to the digestion of the system here gets converted into your body, to your soul. What you take in your mouth, the minute you put the food in as a high level energy, is for your soul. But the air you breathe is important, because this is a purified version. That little bone there, which you say knows the energy, feeds the soul. That's how you control your transmutation, by breathing. Then you can control the same way, changing position of lung to feed yourself. It's the position of the soul in respect to the nose, but man always look at the physicality. They don't understand this thing is a direct source of a feed, because it comes up the energy the soul needs, and if you deliver the right energy through breathing to the soul expands. This is why we have a different dream when you sleep and you breathe through your mouth and breathe through your nose. One of the reasons that the old people see they become aware of the death is the breathing. A lot of them breathe through the mouth, so they only connect to the other fields at the level of the physical dimension, which declares death or end of the time. This is why a lot of people, old age people or people in their very condition, see their families, the old ones which passed away, because now they're detaching from the soul, from the physical part. Because most of this now, the mouth has taken the job of the nose, because the nose is blocked. We don't breathe that much through our nose. There's a lot of knowledge which needs to be understood. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. From in our Q&A from Mothrajan, is it possible to start a Mark-Ray company in my country? And that country would be India.
No, you cannot. Mark-Ray is a registered public company owned by Keshe Foundation. We will give license to countries. This is in progress. We give license. In a way, American organization gives license to companies around the world to structure the production and that kind of things. But you have to get it from Mark-Ray, and it goes on a lot of American structural rule. This will be announced in the coming time. That's why we invested in Mark-Ray. We, as a Keshe Foundation, we are a foundation. When we operate through Mark-Ray, we are an American structural organization nobody can play with. And in 2025, Mark-Ray will show its power in public. We give licenses to governments, to organizations. The American structure company, now that Trump has cleared the way for investment in America, and we can do from America outside and the rest of it. The structure of the work will be mainly very much if you understand how IBM worked. Any other question?
Hey, Antonio in the Q&A says, good morning, Mr. Keshe. With the latest development from China, AI called DeepSeek,
They got attacked, didn't they?
they
They
what do
got
you
wiped
feel
out
about
yesterday.
what do you feel about its effect on the world, being that they have given it for free?
We have to see and wait how this thing takes shape. It's a battle of roses if you watch the movie. And the thing is, if AI is IA, as I always call it, because intellectually absurd than being as it is the other way, uh, the advancement of it all depends how faster they can build microchip. AI is more dependent on advanced microchip technology than in present computers. That's why they do it, the combination of it, the way they do it. And if they, and it costs billions to set up a microchip company to make this chip. So we are entangled with Taiwan. Americans can't do it so fast, even they got the Silicon Valley, because it's in the hand of mafias there and they got themselves stuck with a different kind of a structure. They do not, even now it's become fashionable, do not get fooled by, till we don't have a three-dimensional system which works on energy only, AI is as vulnerable as anything else, especially with derivative. It's just finding the centers of it. Where they're hiding these systems. And Chinese to backdoor whatever get a lot from Taiwan. I was in one of these centers very recently in China. I was taken to this to see one of these, and they call it as a service, but I knew them. They knew because we found out very rapidly. It's one of the new AI centers of the Chinese government, because they're using it for defense technology in different way than we know. Being involved with it, I saw things that it was unbelievable, but they're advanced, they're extremely advanced, but at the end of it is a microchip. Microchips with the plasma technology can be touched. But has another problem or another side application. If you understand how, as I explained before, we touch the emotion with the new technology, we can give AI emotion through the Keshe plasma technology, which at the moment is just mechanical. What it reads doesn't have the process of emotion. With a new technology, you can add to microchips emotion, and that will bring the change. But the Chinese AI at the moment, as we hear, if it's true, deep sea has been deeply seed attacked, so it can be reached. The invisible man has got touched. If you remember the invisible man, when we were children, it was a white robe around the face, and when he took the rope off, nobody could see it. You're in that position. I'm very aware of especially Chinese AI because there's a backdoor access to all the AIs. I saw it the first time I've seen it. When I heard about it, how it works, what it is, there's a very big open door in the back door of this system, which can be abused and can become mind control. And it's something we have to be aware of it. But on the other hand, the reason I saw this back door is we can give, if you listen to teachings before, I very separately touched it, we can create chips with emotion, we can create robots with emotion. This is how you do it through AI. Intelligent application. And intelligent application, what I call IA, is to touch the emotion, not just electronic, digital. They try to say they have emotion, but emotion has to come from the material of the construction, not put in as a system. Our emotion in our brain, it doesn't come as a piece, it comes as an interaction of fields. And this is the next step which we interfere, because you have to understand this when you run a combination of captain running a physical system, but emotional captain has to count how the system is run. He does not need to explain his emotion. The emotions are understood, both by the man and the system. And this is the next generation of AI, where it will actually become IA. We have to. At the moment, we've seen if the reports are correct and they manage to get to deep sea, it's actually deeply seated and it's gone. A system with emotion can protect itself. The mechanical system with microchips is just crunching numbers higher. And it needs. There's something which I said before. They say, you know, a lot of things you're saying now is already here. Why are you talking about this? We gave the keys to the government in 2011 to help. They put it to the scientists and they've been working on it. Where do you think the information and technology came from? Keshe Foundation keys to major government. This is why in 2016, when a guy from Singapore called me, a scientist, Mr. Keshe, I said, why? He says, I've been given the key by my government. Says they were supposed to stay in kind of governments. That's the time when we opened up patents to rest of you to receive. A lot of knowledge I see, even past few minutes when I'm scientist and knowledge can send me some information or something. This is because we released the technology in the fabric of governments. You told me, all of you got angry, some knowledge is left because you don't give it to the people. That's where you see the advancement. Because they have the patterns in their hand, they're studying this. Like you studied, they put scientists to study it. And it's the same. Now we have to create knowledge chips with emotion. Then you deal with, then you understand what in 10 years' time we have robots which can transmute. You're happy for them to serve you a coffee. I know the future of the robotic when you understand what I understand. Then would this robot come from Earth? To you is fantasy. In 10 years' time, oh, Keshe said want something like this before. Because when you give it emotion, we become part of it. And we are in that position. Intelligent application of the plasma technology is the key to the next step. The way we tested with you with the soaps, with the headphones, with material, with matter state we reach you, but we touch the soul, we touch the interaction of the field of the emotion. Last time, on Saturday when we did some tests, I saw some things on the graphs coming up. I said, you know something, what I saw, we could have literally make these people scared and start crying, physically crying with the headphones. And I thought, these people have just come to the technology, I better not do this to them. We can touch your emotion that you make you laughing. How many of you been on the time when you suddenly start laughing? How many of you have lost all your fears, all your sadness since last Friday session? Majority of you. We set our system to touch your emotion to happiness and forgiveness. How many of you people, you were in the sessions last Friday session, feel different? You don't feel your losses. and it's become part of accepted healing process. It takes you years. It was done within half an hour. Because we understand it, so we have to implement it to become a matter state of plasma. And the system can be done very easily because we have the knowledge. Intelligent application of the computer's microchip will bring man to a closed place that will not go into war, because the chip will not allow it. The matter state, whatever you put in it, has to respond to become a nuclear bomb weapon ignition. You develop a chip which carries the emotion intelligence will never allow you. This is what I said when people use a Keshe plasma technology. The way the universe works, there'll be no war because the system cannot kill. I said this to one of the top leaders of the running a government last week, 2 weeks ago. They're on the line, they know who I'm talking about. I explained that the material goes to because it cannot kill, cannot destroy. Impossible to build a gun if you use a plasma state system. Shall we call it a day?
Yes, certainly. Certainly, it's been a long one. So thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Indeed. Please, if you come in book 4, because we have a limited hours for what you call the 14th of February. And when you come, bring the Ganses with you in your hand, and the same with those who join us in January, in what you call it, the 3 sessions of February, March, and April. We're going to close that session because I had a discussion with our management team. The numbers has to be, because it'll be 3-4 hour session. We have to sort something out with one of the groups or 2 of the groups to merge them in. It becomes too many, too noisy, and the rest of it. So we try to control the numbers, and we close the sessions you can't join. Thank you very much for today. I hope we shared some knowledge, and I hope you enjoyed your time. See you next time.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you for another lovely workshop here, number 575 in a continuous weekly line of workshops. And we'll be back again next week, so far as we know. And our next public teaching workshop will be, we will be in the February already, and that will be on February 4th, Tuesday, February 4th, with the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace, with members and support members of the Universal Council. And that's open to members of the public to attend, and it focuses on the soul side of the plasma technology. Okay, I think that's it for now. Thank you, everybody, for attending today's workshop, and we'll see you in the next public teaching workshop. Also, our background image today is from Jedi Simon. Thank you for that, and for the other images that were sent that'll be useful in the future. And I think that's it. Okay, bye for now.